Hey everyone, welcome back to my podcast. This is Everything Under the Sun, and that's under without an E. I'm your host, Savvy Speaks, and I'm back with another podcast episode. So, if this is your first time or not your first time, welcome. This is Everything Under the Sun, and we like to talk about literally everything under the sun, but take it from a spiritual perspective. So, as you can see, today I have a special guest. That's my girl. That's my road dog. That's my sister in Christ. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to just let her introduce herself before we even get started.
Hi, my name is Krista. I am a developmental psychology student at Liberty University. Almost done. Woo, woo, can't wait. Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Southern girl.
The A-Town Dam.
Right.
So, that's my girl, Krista. We met through, how did we meet?
We met through Dive-In.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shalomi invited me to Dive-In. Dive-In is like an online Bible study for college students and young adults. And so we met when you were leading like fresh, like maybe 8 months into Dive-In. Shalomi invited me to come. And then, that's the rest is history.
The rest
on
is
FaceTime.
history. Okay,
on
no.
FaceTime.
Bible study on FaceTime though. This was during like quarantine time, so you know it was
We
good.
couldn't go nowhere. It was locked up.
Locked up, won't let me out. So, today we have a very, very, very special topic. But first, we gotta get into the weather check. So, as you know, we are in Atlanta, Georgia. As she already said, the A-Town down. Being
hot,
Atlanta.
y'all.
Okay,
It's
it's
hot.
really hot. Okay, hot Atlanta.
For real.
Right now, the high is 91, the low is 67, and it is 90 degrees. But it is hot over here under the sun. And so if you don't know what hot stands for, it stands for honest, open, and transparent. So we like to keep it really, really real here under the sun. Okay, so we have this motto that you can't cancel me unless I've canceled myself. Because we get deep, we get real. And so we don't want people to be canceling. So you can't cancel me unless I've canceled myself. Awesome. So today we are actually going to be soaking up some vitamin D on a topic I like to call social media leads to social disorders. And this topic came to mind because this generation, we addicted to our phones like crazy.
For real.
And so I really wanted to talk about this and even add like a spiritual element to it because everything connects to the Bible, everything connects to Christ. But I wanted to kind of throw it at you. What is your experience with like this generation technology and how we're going about social media?
So like I think social media is crazy. It's beneficial, but there's also a lot of detriment and harm that comes from social media. Like I remember when I was a kid, I was watching social media be created. Like I was maybe Windows was like in their first 15 years of a company. Like they weren't even really Microsoft yet. And so like I'm learning technology as technology is being created.
Right.
And then social media came about when I was like, I want to say Instagram came out when I was like going into high school. Maybe like 2014 2015 was when it started to get big. Facebook was like been around for a little bit. But like seeing everybody go from social media to like they're addicted to their phone. They can't put their phone down. They don't know how to talk to you in person anymore.
Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on that. Okay, so we're fairly around the same age. And so we have literally been brought up in this era of social media. And so like I'm part of the generation that's like when I was young, I used to go outside. Like we used to actually be outside and Wi-Fi wasn't too much of a big thing until I was like maybe 13, 14. And like for the most part, assignments were pretty much still paper. When we went to classes, it was very much in person. But now technology has assumed this role of like everything you do, everybody pull out your laptops. You go to church, the projector. So everything is wired around technology. And I feel like it's helped us evolve, but then it's also stripped us of a little bit of like culture and cognitive skills.
Not a little bit, a lot of it, okay? Because like I'm looking at kids and like my niece and my nephew, they're 2 and 5. Everywhere they go, my iPad. You take it away, they're like, I don't know what to do. Girl. I'm bored. Like I do a lot of camps. Like in the summer, I do camps for kids with different disabilities. And so like there's one particular camp for kids with military or whose parents are in the military.
Right.
And we have a lot of free play. Like we just
Mm.
say, okay, we have a break, go outside, do whatever you want to do. And kids don't know how to play outside anymore.
Eesh.
They're like, well, I play my video games. Or, I'll go to my friend's house and we'll play video games.
Yeah.
Or we'll FaceTime each other and do nothing around the house. I'm like, you don't know how to play?
Yeah.
Playing is like a fundamental part of childhood
Yeah.
and you don't know how to play?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy to me.
I think it's scary because it's just like when we talk about like cognitive skills, I heard like some like children don't know how to write their names anymore. They don't know how to like write because they're so used to tapping. I mean, you don't have to draw an S if you could just tap it and it's just there. And so I think it just makes me fear like the coming generations of like the social skills that they're missing out on, because there are moments where like I'm talking to a child and they're not even making eye contact. Now I know that's a struggle for a lot of people, but I'm like for me it's like basic, like look at me when I'm talking to you, and it's not like in any rude way, but it's just like this is communication. And so I notice a lot of younger people like that, or they're just like not interested. They'll give you like a straight blank face and it's like, oh, I thought we were having a conversation.
Yeah. It's just like you talked about grasping a pencil. Like kids don't know how to do that anymore. They don't know how to write their name. That is a developmental milestone. Like they look at you like, okay, can you hold a pencil? Can you do like the pencil grasp? Like you need to be able to do this.
Yeah.
That is like a milestone. If you can't, like they're looking at you closely to monitor the rest of your developmental milestones. Like kids don't know how to do that. And I taught preschool last year. I had students that did not know how to hold a pencil.
Wow.
They didn't know how to hold a crayon. I'm like, you don't color? They're like, yeah, I color on my mommy's iPad. I color on my mommy's laptop. So they don't even know how to hold a crayon.
No. What?
So they're just like using their fingers.
Yeah. What age is that?
So preschool is like 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 to 5, depending on where you go and how late your birthday is. But like, I was like, y'all don't know how to hold a pencil.
Boy. And I'm like, them coloring pages online, it's like you just click and it fills up the
Yes,
area.
like you just tap.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. I think it's interesting because we caught it at like, we develop a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Then we started to merge with the technology. But these kids that are being brought nowadays, like they're like, I don't know, they born from the technology. Like
For real.
no, like out of the womb, you get an iPad. And in my mind, it's just not right that I could be sitting here with like an iPhone 6 and a 3-year-old got an iPhone 14. Like in my mind, that just don't make sense. Like there's levels to this. And so I don't know. I've noticed how technology has been infused with like the younger generation in the sense of Coco Melon and like Baby Shark and all these things. And I realized they have very addictive elements to it. As educative as they are,
stimulating.
Girl, Coco Melon. I mean, I used to love Coco Melon because I'd watch it with the kids at church. But when I like learned that, because like the way the scenes would flip and they're very bright and very colorful, that could lead to ADHD, or that could lead to like too much mental stimulation. I was like, that you can't even win nowadays.
Right. So like they tell you in like teacher education, like if you want kids to learn, brighten up your classroom. Have bright colors. Have things on the wall, because that's what catches their attention.
Right.
They're looking. They like this gray couch. If your room was gray, dull, they're not gonna learn anything. Like colors help enhance the learning experience, but like too much of a good thing is not a good thing.
Okay. Because now you're bringing me into like dopamine. I was doing some research for this topic, and it was just like social media. The thing about it is that it overloads our dopamine levels because we're always getting satisfaction and we're always getting what we want. And like, oh, okay, I'm going deep. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just like before you go too deep. Oh, this might be deep too. But like the social media, it definitely does fuel like the pleasure centers of your brain. Because like if you don't like it, you could just say tap. I don't want to see that anymore.
Block
3 little dots.
Yeah.
Like do not show me this ad anymore. It's irrelevant to me. Like I don't want to see it. Or you can block it. You can restrict it. You can do all this stuff. So you're literally being fed everything you want, and that's not life.
That's not
life.
Yeah.
No part of life is like giving everything you want
Yes.
all the time.
Yes.
God's not even like that.
Come on with the word. No, I feel that because I think sometimes I'm just like, ooh, Apple, Samsung, Android, y'all did something like whenever the block button. You can't block people in real life. I mean, restraining orders, yes, but like you can't block people in real life.
Right.
You can't say something and then take it back. Like with this whole like new unsend thing, I was like, I see the logic, but that's not real world. You can't send a message and then like you can't. So I feel like with technology, we have the ability to do things that we can't do in real life, and I wonder if it gives us a
Mm.
false sense of reality.
Oh,
Yeah.
girl, yeah. So, like in my research methods class, like last school year,
Mm-hmm.
I took a research methods class and we talked about like video games
Mm-hmm.
and how like children shouldn't be playing violent video games
Mm.
or they shouldn't be in front of a screen excessively anyway. But like especially violent video games because kids have trouble discerning like reality from fiction. And so
Crazy.
like you see a kid will watch a TV show about a rainbow unicorn. They think there are rainbow unicorns everywhere. So
Yeah.
like you introduce stuff to them at a young age without teaching them what's real, without teaching them like social cues. Like and when I was doing research for the podcast, like one of the things that kept coming up was that social media doesn't teach kids how to communicate.
Mm.
90 like 70 to 90% of communication is body language.
Wow.
So like the way you move your eyes, the way you fiddle around, like you don't get that in a text message.
Yeah.
You don't get that in a DM. Like you don't get that. You just
Jeez.
get the words, and then like you said, you can unsend it. You can't unsend it. If you roll your eyes in a conversation, you roll your eyes.
You rolled your eyes.
If you throw your hands up, you throw your hands up.
You better
If you
get popped
if
for
you
it.
clear your throat, like you can't unsend
Yeah.
real life.
Yeah. I definitely agree because I realized that text does not give you all the context that you need.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't. And so I feel like there's so many people who are confused about like, oh, he sent me this text. What does he mean? And it's just like he just said hi. But because we think that it means something more, or because we're lacking that eye contact, that body language, and we think things mean things that they don't.
Yeah. I don't even think it's like we think it means something more. I feel like it's an innate thing to know that communication is more than just your words.
Yeah.
And so
Ooh.
when someone says hi, you know, like if you're in person, you can tell like is that hi happy? Are they happy to see me? Are they going through
Is
something?
it hi?
Are they like get out my face? But I'm trying to be polite.
Right.
So like when you get a text message, you're looking for everything that you cannot see because you're looking for the rest of communication. Like communication is your body language. It is everything. Words are like the last little bit, the last part of communication.
I was like, let me find this applause button. That is so true. Wow.
Yeah. So like I think it's something that we naturally know is supposed to be there and we removed it so much that we're like, okay, I need that extra part, but you can't find that through technology.
Wow. That's deep. So would you say like you personally, are you like a text, call, or FaceTime person?
I'm not even gonna hold you. It depends on the person.
Oh, let me also add in person as well.
I'm much better in person than I am via like text message or anything. Like if I'm close to you, I'm gonna call you, I'm gonna FaceTime you.
Right.
Like I'll text you about little things, but if it's like something big, I'm like, what you doing? Can we call? Can we do nothing on FaceTime together?
Yeah.
Like I would rather see you and be able to hear your voice.
Okay.
Like if someone were to text me something serious, I'm not texting back. I am calling. Like I need to know like how do you really feel? I need the context that I can't get with just your words in a text message. And emoji's not gonna cut it.
An emoji's not gonna cut it.
Not at all.
No facts, because emojis mean so many things nowadays. But I agree. For me personally, I've become so adapted to texting. Like I would text you as if I'm talking. So when I was younger, I think I started texting like maybe like 10 to 13. I would be like ha 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 with like 10 laughing emojis, so you know that I'm actually laughing.
Yeah.
Or like let's say if I'm like running late, I'll be like, sorry, Wi-Fi out. So it gives that effect. But I realized, girl, you so lame. Just like my Wi-Fi not working. Like
And that
so
fits your personality so well.
okay, it's yeah. So for me, definitely I'm a text person. Definitely FaceTime. If I have the time, I'm a FaceTime person because I like to see what's going around. And I do this a lot, which I feel like I don't know if people understand why I do it, but I'm like, show me your room, like show me what's going on, because I want to feel like I'm there even though I'm not actually there, so that I can catch a whiff of the atmosphere. Yeah,
That makes sense.
that's what I do. But yeah, so I mentioned I didn't want to go too deep when we started talking about what were we talking about?
We started getting into like dopamine
Yes.
and things like that, how social media like fuels like the dopamine thing. It releases all that dopamine. Yeah.
So as I was doing research, I was looking into how the pleasure that we receive from social media, it's honestly too much. I realized, and through research, I found out that this generation, we're the most depressed. We're the most emotionally unstable and mentally unstable, because we're having an imbalance of hormones. We're having an imbalance of
Mm.
dopamine. No one should ever have this much pleasure that we have, because now
Yeah.
we're looking for these things on a screen, and we're looking at these things for hours. We're
Mm.
losing sleep. We're posting our foods before we eat it. So, and I think we also lose this idea or this concept of privacy, because
Hello.
okay, like for me personally, God had to tell me to get off of Snapchat, because I was the type of
Mm.
person, I'd post all my foods, post where I'm going, but I'm like, no one should ever know that much about me without you even
Mhm.
asking. Like, so whenever I took a social media fast from Snapchat, I'd go back. I'm like, why y'all posting this? Like, I don't care about your butt. Like, why you want me to see you in your underwear? Like, so yeah,
Yeah, like Sabrina knows I'm a very private person.
very,
I don't post much about my life on social media at all. You get a story from me every now and then, and it's really just like quotes that I've seen and
yeah,
like other people's stories. I'm
yeah.
just sharing, like, oh, that's good. Let me post that there. But like, yeah, life is meant to be a humbling
Come on,
experience. At nobody, like, these kids don't know how to regulate their emotions. These adults don't know how to
come on,
regulate their emotions.
come
We
on.
wonder why we see so many angry people. They were never taught to regulate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're like social media, social media, social media. Like, you can talk to anybody around the world, which that is a great thing. Like, when it comes to business,
Mm-hmm.
social media and technology,
Beautiful.
amazing. It's an amazing thing. Like, I have never been able to just like, oh, let me get on WhatsApp. Let me go talk to my uncle who lives in South Africa. Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't a thing. If they
Mm-hmm.
moved, oh well. You're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna talk to them anymore. But like, being fed that much, like, you're overeating.
Oh.
You are overdosing on dopamine. Like, it's not healthy. Like I said before, too much of a good thing is really not a good thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like, you eat too much sugar. Sugar is naturally in food,
Right.
but you eat too much of it, you're going to get sick. You eat too much of anything, you're going
Mm-hmm.
to physically become ill. And we don't take the same
Mm-hmm.
consideration with like what we consume with like social media or media in general. we
Right.
don't we don't think about it, and then we wonder why our behavior changes. We
Okay.
wonder like, oh, why am I talking like this? Because you've been watching nothing but love and hip-hop clips.
Oh my
Like, I
gosh.
never spoke.
Yes.
Like, why are you speaking like that? Like, you never
That,
said
that's
that.
not you.
That's not you.
That's
Like,
Cardi B.
why are you trying this random thing? Why are you eating this way? Because you saw some girl on TikTok eating this way.
Cornstarch.
For, don't even get
So
me
now you
started.
want to try eating
Right, you want to dip
cornstarch?
your butter in some what's that? What she do in tomato sauce? Marinara. She
Hey.
dipped a stick of butter in marinara. Yeah, like, you don't want to do that.
Bruh, I'm telling you, social media, it's so influential, and I don't know if we ever even know how influential like it is. Because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I'll post something and I hear somebody talking about it. I'm like, oh, I was just posting it. And so I don't even think we know how impactful we are until we see the numbers, which is where TikTok and like
Mm.
things like Instagram get really, really addictive. Because naturally, if I speak to you, I'm like, okay, I'm impacting one person. But when I'm posting on social media and I'm seeing 16.2K people saw this, like in my mind, I'm like, oh shoot, like of course I'm gonna feel happy.
Yeah.
I gotta put more content. I gotta make sure I get more views. And so I realized with this idea of I have to please people, I
Mm.
wonder how people pleasers feel. Like I can't even imagine being on social media and wanting to please so many people. Like I thank God,
Yeah.
like God had to put me out before I came like that. But
And just with like the people pleasers tidbit, I think the majority of the influencers are people pleasers.
ooh,
I feel like because they're always, okay guys, tell me what I should wear today. Pick out my makeup today. Pick out this, and that's not like a every blue moon. I don't have
right,
any content, so let me just do this. Like, some people, that's all they post. Is
mm,
choose this for me, do
right,
this for me. Like, I want to make sure that everything that I post, you guys want. And then
mm,
when they do something that is beneficial to them but their viewers don't like, they're having a meltdown. They're
that's true.
crying on Instagram live because they're like, I'm sorry guys, they just living their life.
Yeah.
And then like, you can't make mistakes anymore.
Oh.
So like, we're creating like a generation that is addicted to their phone. They need constant stimulation, but they're also perfectionists because
Yeah.
you do anything on the internet, it stays forever.
Yeah.
It don't matter if you deleted it.
Yeah.
It don't matter if you think you took it out the cloud.
Come on.
It's still up in
It's
there.
there.
It's still there. And like, you become famous. Let's say you get a following. You posted something in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2027.
Oh.
They're holding you accountable
Yeah.
to what you said in 2012, like you can't grow,
Yeah.
like you don't mature as a person
Mm-hmm.
because nobody understands how humans work anymore.
Girl, no, you're speaking. And this is why I always say, like, I don't vibe with cancel culture because in the
For real.
past, I feel like we had grace for people who made mistakes. We understood. But now you say one wrong thing and you're public
Mm-hmm.
enemy number one and two and three. And it's just like people make mistakes and people can grow. But like, I don't know. I don't know. Because, okay, it takes me to Bible whenever like Jesus said, if you're going to be a teacher, you're going to be judged more harshly because
Yeah.
no matter what, like you're going to be accountable for what you say.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost like I wonder, can we get mad that people are holding us to what we said because it's expected?
Mm. I see where you're going. Like to a degree, I feel like you can't get upset that people are holding you to what you said. But when people make it seem like that's exactly who you are, that's where the problem comes.
Okay.
Like cancel culture isn't bad for people like R. Kelly. I'm just gonna say it. Like I'm not gonna say people like R. Kelly, but people who exhibit behavior like R. Kelly. I don't know him as a person, but
Mhm.
like when you exhibit that type of behavior, and it's not just a one-time thing. It wasn't just a season of your life.
Mhm.
Like he was actively doing it until he was put in prison.
Mhm.
Like cancel culture is good for that kind of stuff because like R. Kelly getting arrested kind of felt like the uncle who doesn't get talked about
Okay.
getting arrested.
Mhm.
And so like I feel like when it comes to things that are detrimental to multiple people's lives, like you
Mhm.
committed a crime, we're going to put you away.
Mhm.
But if you do your due diligence,
Right.
if you turn your life around,
Mhm.
there are some things people will always see you for that one
That's
thing.
true.
But like cancel culture makes it seem like okay, Sabrina said something that she didn't know about when she was 5 years old, and she just happened to have a phone, and she posted that thing.
Mhm.
People aren't going to consider where you were in your life.
Right.
They're not going to consider what you went through. They're not going to consider if you were knowledgeable on that
Right.
thing or not. They're going to say that's who you are.
Mhm.
What you post is who you are,
Right.
and that's scary.
That is very scary. I feel like they also don't consider context because something that
Mm-mm.
someone said in 2010 that was racist but funny and everybody laughed at it. Now in 2023, we ain't laughing at it. But then they would bring it up and say, I can't believe you said that. And at the time, like you were laughing at it. But now
Right.
that because, things have changed and we're more politically correct and like more sensitive, it's more like, no, you shouldn't have said that back then. And so I was watching a stand-up comedy special by Fluffy, and man, like the whole first hour it was just him being politically correct, and he was like, all right, well, Netflix just needed an hour, so after that he got his soda, he started talking like real, and I was like, that's interesting because he started to apologize for like the jokes that he made like years ago, and I'm like, but do you have to though? Like, do you have to apologize for who you were? And I feel like cancel culture, it kind of makes you accountable for like kind of what you said or who you were back then, without accounting that you have grown and without accounting that times have changed. So I definitely see what you're saying, that counterculture sorry, not counterculture, cancel culture is beneficial whenever it comes to justice, like people
Yeah.
like Bill Cosby, people like R. Kelly. It brings, even like the Me Too movement, it
Yeah.
brings accountability for people who don't get hurt. But like if it's just a regular, she wore shorts that day and we were all wearing pants, cancel her, then that's
Right.
irrelevant.
Right, because you do I even want to say this, Lord? I don't even. It's a whole nother topic. I'm not even gonna
If
say
he's
it.
if he's moving you, girl.
I'm not because it's a whole nother topic. But like going back to the whole context thing, like that also goes back into like people don't consider what like, they weren't, half of them weren't alive when certain tweets were made. So like how can you understand
Yeah.
what the culture was like? Because to be completely honest, stuff that used to fly, and we're not old. We're very much just beginning life,
Yeah.
for real. But like stuff that happened when we were kids, don't slide today.
It don't.
You tell somebody I don't like what you said, or you unfollow someone on social media, or you just take a step back. Maybe you unfollowed everybody, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
Like nobody takes into consideration what's happening anymore, because if it's not in their hand,
Yeah.
if they don't see it right when it happens, it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy.
No, notice how I think social media is changing our culture, because if you unfollow somebody, that's a statement. Oh, you unfollow me? Okay, so you don't want to see my content. Oh, so you don't like me. So we have beef. Okay,
Right.
cool. And it's like, we could have had a one-on-one conversation about that. And I mean, not to say that if someone unfollows you, go and be like, why did you unfollow me? I mean, they have a right to do that.
Yeah.
But like, we start to replace that one-on-one communication with that means something. It's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
somebody hacked my account and they just happen to follow you, you know?
Yeah, because it's like it goes back to like we are like take it back to scripture. Like it says we are built for communities. Like
Yeah.
it is not good for man to be alone. We
Right.
are not meant to be by ourselves. Social media isolates people
Yeah.
because you think you don't have to go anywhere because you're surrounded by all these people, all these little icons and the AI and whatever, whatever, whatever. Like you're surrounded by all these people that you never see.
Yeah.
You never like we need human contact. Like
Yeah.
nothing is ever going to be able to replace that.
Yeah.
Like if we remove that, we're going to continue to see depression
Mm-hmm.
increase, anxiety increase.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see people seem like everybody got ADHD, everybody has ADD, everybody has this. Like I'm not going to jump. I'm not going to jump just that. But like we're going to see those things increase because we are built for human connection.
Yes.
And you can't get that. Like social media can't give you a hug. Social media can't give you a hug. Like it tells you, like if you do research, it tells you how many hugs you need a day just to get by.
Shut up, really?
Like you need 4 just to get by. You need 8 to be happy.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, let me start hugging myself.
Because like the dopamine that you need,
Mm-hmm.
hugs.
Wow.
Oxytocin, like you get that from a hug, you get that from being around people.
Wow.
And because we isolate ourselves, and then we're also living in a post-pandemic world,
Yeah.
we had to be shut down and isolated for a year and a half.
Oh my gosh.
No contact. And if you lived by yourself,
Oh.
I can only imagine. It was hard for me, and I had people in the house.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
Imagine for people who don't even like do physical touch. It's just like just passing by. I can't even imagine like 48 hugs. I knew it. I knew something was deficit in my life. You know, like, but no. I want to even like touch back onto like where you mentioned sometimes we don't feel like we need people because we have our own world around us. And I realize that is an agenda behind social media, is that this is your world. You don't need to interact with other people when you have everything that you need. And so like when they say don't put all of your eggs in one basket, I feel like technology is literally putting all your eggs plus your neighbor's eggs plus your whole neighborhood's eggs in one basket. And so I realize you have your calculator, you have your camera, you have a flashlight, you have your I don't know, notes. Everything you need is here. And so it kind of eliminates the need for someone else. But as humans, we are so interdependent of each other. What you do and what you say and what you think, that affects me. And it like whatever I do, say, and think also affects you too. But I feel like because we try to block that natural connection and use social media as our world, we start to eliminate the need for people, and we start to desensitize, and we feel like, well, I don't need nobody, I'm here by myself, so I'm just gonna post it on my story. I'm moving in silence, but the rest of your 12 stories talk about how you moving in silence. Like you're not moving in silence. And so I feel like the algorithm that we have, although it's very smart, I feel like sometimes it's too smart that we don't even realize how smart it is. Like it's designed to keep you entrapped. Like there are moments I go on Instagram and I'm like, dang, what did I come on here for? And I'm like, oh, here, ooh, like this Bible quote. And it's generally good stuff, but the dopamine overload is too much.
Yeah, like it's so distracting. It's so distracting. And like there was something you said. What was it that I wanted to touch on too?
Is the
I don't
algorithm?
remember. Not just the algorithm. Oh yes, it was that like. So Mark Zuckerberg talks about how he is all for improving Facebook, and now he owns like the Meta company. So like Instagram, Facebook, and I think there's something else attached. Yeah, okay, yeah, all those together, and he's looking to add things. He's like, I want to improve human connection. He says that's his motive, is to improve human connection. You might be improving humans talking to other humans and like somewhat being updated with other people's lives, like especially on Facebook. Facebook is like the life update thing anyway.
Your birthday? Oh, Facebook.
Birthday,
yeah.
Like you don't miss things like that. So like it's beneficial in that way. So like I see someone's birthday on Facebook, and if I have their number, I'm like, oh, let me just call them. Let me text them. Like it can be beneficial like that. But like, do you really have 3,000 friends? Do you really? Because Facebook will have you friends with half the world, but you don't talk to any of them. And like our definition of friendship has changed too, because like if you follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on TikTok, if I talk to you maybe every year on WhatsApp, like once a year, happy birthday, Merry Christmas, whatever it may be, then you're my friend. But you don't know
Sheesh.
anything about my life.
Sheesh.
You don't pray for me. You don't
Mm.
know my struggles.
Mm.
Like, you don't know anything about me but what I post. And then, like, it opens the door for so many creepy people. It's like you have a form of protection has been taken away because everything's on social media.
Yeah.
Like, there's no privacy. Privacy is beneficial.
Mm.
Secrecy, no. Privacy,
Mm-hmm.
yes. You should keep things to yourself. You should actually move in
Mm-hmm.
silence on certain
Mm-hmm.
things. Not telling people I'm moving in
Moving in
silence
silence. It.
and then be like, oh, post a clip of where you are, just the corner of a wall or somebody's
Mm.
pinky finger.
No face, no case.
Right. Like, no, that's a
Wow.
problem.
Wow. I mean, I'm just listening to you know because you putting me onto game.
It's a real problem. Like, I have limited like what I post on social media. Like, so many people, they don't know what I do, and I like that they don't know what I
Yeah.
do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I don't talk to you, you shouldn't know what I do.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't know
Mm-hmm.
anything about my life. You shouldn't know. Like, I didn't post anything. I just came back from visiting family in Chicago and Milwaukee. I didn't share that I was in Chicago and Milwaukee.
Right.
If I don't talk to you, you don't need to know that type of information. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why am I going around giving somebody else the satisfaction of thinking that they know me when they really don't?
Mm.
And that's why, like, that people end up getting in trouble that way.
Yeah.
They end up getting close to these celebrities,
Ooh.
or they think they're close to these celebrities or these YouTubers or whatever, and you don't know them. You know the facade. And so it's like, it's just filling you up, not just with dopamine, but it's giving you a false sense of knowing people.
Yeah.
And like, it's giving you a false sense of community. Like,
Mm.
like I said, we're built for community. And then you see all this stuff. You see that so and so had a baby.
Yeah.
You see that, you hear their birth story. Like Chrissy Teigen, she just posted a
Mm.
story. So she gave birth to her daughter after a miscarriage. She didn't think she
Wow.
could carry. I don't know what the medical complications were, but they were concerned that she wasn't going to be able to carry her child to term. And so
Wow.
she tried again and she got pregnant. And then they also had a surrogate, and the surrogate got pregnant. So they had the babies around the same time. So they're kind of like twins. You
Mm.
post that kind of stuff to be open and to let people know that they are, they're not alone. But then somebody else might see that as, I know her. She shared this with me. And we don't realize how many people are really out there thinking that kind of stuff. So, like, you're filling them up, you're shortening their attention span, you're causing them to not be able to have human interaction in person, like face to face communication, but they think that they know you.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
That's
really
wow.
creepy.
Wow. No, social media has opened that pathway because I'm telling you, after they tell you, like, after high school, you only keep in touch with like one or two people. That is straight facts.
Yeah.
Straight
Like,
facts.
I literally only talked to one girl from high school.
Only, bro, literally only one person. And like another person, I'll be like, happy birthday every now and then. If you post, I'll swipe up on your story. And like in my mind, I'm doing my due diligence. Like I'm still, but that's not actually checking up on them. I don't really know how you're doing just because I see what you're posting on Finsta. And Finsta's supposed to be like your real fake Insta. Like,
Right.
that's not how you feel. I don't know if you're crying to sleep at night. I just know that you're posting 2 p.m. every day how you want the world to think that you're doing. And that's not legit. Wow.
And then, so like with adults, I would say social media has just been another mask. And with kids, it's affecting development.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, these babies don't know how to write. They don't know how to read. They don't know how to do anything. There are educational things out there that are beneficial, but the parents have to do that. But if the parents are like, here you go.
Yeah.
Just like, you're not, like, psychologists recommend that you do not allow your child to be introduced to a screen before they are 4 years old,
Wow.
because it affects development. It messes it up.
That's gonna be tough because all these kids watching Coco Melon.
Coco Melon is crack for babies.
It too much.
It's so
you know
bad.
they say SpongeBob was even detrimental to our health, and that's why they
I
say
believe
like,
it.
hey, I mean, SpongeBob SquarePants. No, a lot of our like generation, they actually struggle with ADHD, and I was just like, God, do I have ADHD? Because the way I realized it was so common, especially in college. Everybody's just like, oh, my attention span is so short. I can't focus on this. I can't focus on this. And I'm wondering, like, I mean, studies have shown that SpongeBob, because the changing scenes and the sounds and the lights,
it's probably
like,
one of the first ones too.
One of the very first ones. And we didn't even know until now. We're just like, why can't I focus in class? Why is my teacher so boring? Why don't I care about neuroscience and that's what I'm studying? So,
yeah. Like, I would say, like, with that, like, everybody doesn't have ADHD. They have ADHD tendencies. So, like, in the research that I was doing, we kind of covered it a little bit in class, but like certain things you don't go into until you get your master's.
Right.
But like ADHD has a genetic component to it. So like you don't get the genetic component from just being on social media. Like technology is approaching that part.
Right.
Where you just do whatever and you take it in, but like genetically you have to be predisposed. So there's like a genetic predisposition and there's like a physical difference in your brain. So like the ADHD brain is physically different.
Okay.
So it's like a lot of people have short attention spans. A lot of people are hyperactive. A lot of people are anxious. But like also with other mental disorders, hyperactivity, inability to focus, fidgeting around all the time, those are not just signs of ADHD. Those are also signs of anxiety and depression and all these other things. And so like all the mental stuff is like just building up.
Right.
I will say like I do believe like social media is heightening these things.
Okay.
And like even knowing people with ADHD, they're more likely to get lost on social media.
Oof, boy.
Than like a neurotypical person.
That's,
like, yeah.
Wow, that's very valid. I thank you for I guess clearing that up, because I think the common notion is, oh, I can't focus, I must have ADHD, and then we self-diagnose ourselves, not knowing that there's more to it, because I didn't even know that you had to be like predisposed to like ADHD to consider yourself having ADHD.
Yeah, and then like ADHD is not something you just randomly develop in your life. So like there's a DMS thing, and right now I'm not even gonna hold you. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's basically the standards they hold you to when they're diagnosing you. So it's like a diagnostic like statistical something. And so like you have to fit into a certain category to be diagnosed with things, and you have like ADHD symptoms start before you're 12 years old.
Wow.
So like if this hasn't been a lifelong thing, it's something that you can train your brain to do. The brain is crazy amazing. Like you can train your brain to do things. If you can increase your attention span by learning to study and learning to do this and working out, drinking water, taking care of your body, then you can also teach yourself to decrease that attention span.
That's true.
You can also teach yourself, you can shape yourself into someone who is hyperactive, who is unable to focus and things like that. So
I had this app once, and it's like about it's like mind training, mental training. I forgot what it's called, but it would give us these games. I think
it's like brain training.
Yeah,
mind tap.
Yes. So it would give us like memory games. Even before that, Nintendo DSi.
Yes, I had that too. Yeah.
I loved the math games, and that's why I'm so good at mental math now, because I used to play these games and I would just 8 plus 8, 16, and naturally now I'm able to build that up, and I'm able to focus because of the games that they had. And so even with the app that I had, it would help me on memory, it would help me on focus, it would help me on attention, and I feel like that helped me build my brain, what do you even call it, brain skills?
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
Skills, yeah.
So it helped me grow my brain skills, and so I think that gives me hope to know that just because I can't really focus now doesn't mean that I'm gonna be like this forever, but I can actually build my focus and do better. Because I'm not gonna lie, after COVID, it was hard to sit in the classroom.
Yes.
Because Zoom, bruh, camera off, mic off, I'm practically not even here, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm in a classroom for 2 hours, and it's so hard to even pay attention to a teacher that's talking with no breaks. So I feel like social media has even kind of shifted the way we are in classrooms, because you can't just talk to somebody for 2 hours like you used to do in the 1960s. I feel like their brains were wired a lot for memory, so they could memorize what you said. Us, because there's so much access to information, we don't have to remember it. We could just go back and find it on the internet. And so with teachers, I'm pretty sure it has shifted the way they have to do things in classrooms to make it more stimulating, to make it more effective to young people or people who just can't hold a lot of information at once.
Yeah, like the average attention span now is 15 to 20 minutes.
Ooh.
That's short.
Ooh.
15 to 20
I would have said
minutes.
30 seconds. I don't know. Like
15 to 20. I think that's for
wow.
like adults.
Okay.
So like the average adult attention span is 15 to 20 minutes. It takes more than 15 to 20 minutes to drive. It takes more than 20 minutes to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's sad.
Whoa.
That's where we are. 15 to 20 minutes. Like you, of course you can't focus in class.
Yeah.
Class is longer than 20 minutes.
Way
And 20
longer.
minutes is kind of pushing it for some people.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's just crazy. And then like you talked about like the teachers and how they have to change things up. They were required to memorize things. They didn't have the satisfaction of being like, oh, let me just put it in my notes.
Yeah.
Let me set a reminder. Let me do this. Let me do that. Oh, let me just Google this real quick because I can't remember. Like they didn't have the satisfaction of doing that until they were later in life.
Yeah.
And that's for like the older professors and teachers like that. Like they didn't have that
They
satisfaction.
did not.
They had to memorize things. They didn't have open book, open note tests where you could go online. And I'm not, look, I love me a good open book, open note, but I also have realized that when I have an open book, open note test, I'm less likely to spend that time studying like I need to.
Very much.
Because I'm relying on my book. Because I have the ability to just like, oh, let me just switch over to my online textbook. I don't have any physical books.
Facts.
I don't like
Oh
not.
my
I have in my
gosh.
college career. I have never had one physical textbook.
Really?
Nope, not one.
Is that like by choice?
My school provides it. It's online. They provide you pay the technology fee. You get all your books. You get a discount on physical books, but they steal an arm, a leg, and half your kidney.
No, at this point, everything is digital, and like I don't know, because of that, I really feel like sometimes the older people, I give them more like certification because I'm like, y'all had to go through books to like get this knowledge. We could just look it up and just get it instantly. And I think there is beauty with having to struggle and having to like spend hours to get that information because you put in the sweat and the effort, you hold it. But because it's so easily attainable for us, we don't really value it too much. It's like it's just there. And like I had this one class where the teacher, the way he structured his test was who said this phrase in the book, and I'm saying this book is hundreds of pages, and so I'm like pretty much I was predestined to fail because how am I supposed to know who said this? But there's this app, Adobe Scan. So what we would do is scan the pages and then Control F the word. I go back into the book, I find it, and I'm like, this person said it. I mean, technology is great because it really actually helped me pass the class, but I'm like, it's becoming a little too easy. Like open note tests, I used to hate them because it's just like I want to put in the effort, I want to succeed, but when you're making it so easy for me, I might as well not even try.
Right. So like one thing that I had to stop doing was I had to stop being so reliant on it. Like in my psych courses, like there are some classes, if it's not for my major, I'm not even gonna hold you. I don't really care that much. I'm like, I need to pass because I need to pass because y'all tell me I need this course. But like when it comes to my psych classes, I will read and I will study, and the only thing I will use my notes for, not the book, my notes for, are vocabulary. So like I had to get in the habit of writing down my vocabulary words. Like I prefer physical pen and paper anyway. Like it just helps me learn better. Like that's a scientific, like writing it down helps you with your memorization. But like I wanted to, something came to mind when you were talking, like we are so used to having everything when we want it, how we want it, in the package that we want it. Like, and then like social media is teaching people all these like spiritual things, and people are making, they're spiritual but they ain't godly, let me just say that. They're teaching you all these things and how to get what you want, how to manifest it. But like it's not just affecting our human relationships, it's affecting our relationship with God. If God doesn't give it to us how we want it when we want it,
there's other options. Like
the fact of the matter is they're not even really options because in the long run they're not gonna work. So like me personally, I say if it's not going to last, if it's not going to be beneficial, it's not an option. And so like social media is also, and technology is also affecting our relationship with God. We can't pray. We be like, Lord, I thank you, and that reel I saw, that TikTok I saw the other day, that was crazy.
I'll go eat for dinner tonight.
Right. And like we can't read our word because it's not a Bible app. But the Bible app, you get notifications still.
Okay.
You getting distracted like you're reading like John 3:16. For God so and so text you.
Yeah.
So and so is live.
Yeah.
Your favorite social media whatever just posted a picture. Like it's affecting how we do that, and we wonder why we're so. That's part of the reason why we're so depressed.
Yeah.
We took God out of schools, and like now we have social media, and we can't even talk to the main person that we need to talk to. Like everything, one thing that I have come to learn, like if you do it with a person, you're gonna do it with God. If you do it with yourself, you're gonna do it with somebody else. So like if you isolate yourself and you put yourself in a public situation, you're just gonna sit there quietly. You're not gonna talk. You're not gonna engage because one, you don't know how.
Yeah.
You don't know how.
Oh my gosh.
But you'll sit there and text the other person.
That's true.
Instead of talking. Because now you're anxious about how you sound and what you look like, and you don't sound like the people on TikTok, and you don't have a filter on your face.
Ooh, don't get into the filters because I'm like, yo, you know your eyelash is moving, right? Like, you know the lip line is like right here. All I gotta
say is if somebody who only uses filters go missing, we not gonna find you. We not gonna find you.
You go see the filter. There they go. No, bro.
Because your nose is different. You gonna have long eyelashes.
No, because all of them make the nose slim and the face move. Girl, you know you
it's
got
more
no
Eurocentric
pimples. Okay.
features. You are a black girl from Alabama. We don't know what you really look
now
like.
You look like Kim K. Like what? Why are there so many Kim K features? Like,
yeah, it's just, but it's like it's affecting everything.
Yeah.
And then like even people who want to do like other spiritual practice, like the Hindus and like Buddhists and all that stuff, like other religions that really focus on meditation, you can't even meditate.
Yeah.
You can't even talk to your false god.
Yeah.
You can't even do that.
Go through with the word.
You can't even do that. Like you can't focus.
Yeah.
Like where is it? So that's part of the reason everybody is like, oh, do I have ADHD? And that's also something we're learning about. Like social media is beneficial to learn about other things. But when you see something on social media so much, you start to question yourself, like, do I have this too? Like, so-and-so is posting about how she got diagnosed with ADHD as a child.
Wow.
Or she's looking back and realizing that she may have had ADHD her whole life because as an adult, it's just something she copes with now. But as a child, it was really problematic. She had to learn differently. She had to do all these things differently. And now you're like, oh, I might have it because it's trendy.
Because it's trendy. I'm telling you, a lot of these people in this world are doing things not because they have it, but because it's trendy. And so you mentioned, you said something about something, and the thing that came to my mind was on YouTube, there would always be this ad that popped up, and it says, "Am I gay?" Large advertisement, boom, plastered. Take a quiz.
One, at the top,
bro, and it would come up like so often, and like. I've heard testimonies of people who took it and they were like, well, it said I was bi, so okay. And I'm like, I said this in one of my other podcasts. I promise you a large percentage of the people in the LGBTQ community are not even LGBTQ for real. It's because it's trendy. It's because like everybody's doing it. And because it's so infiltrated into social media that you are a guy and you appear to be more feminine because you're raised by your mother. So now social media is telling you that you're gay. And now you think you're gay, and it's like you're not. Like that's not who you are. Now, if you have the natural attraction, if you have the attraction, I'm not saying it's natural. Then that's a whole different thing. But social media has such an agenda to perpetuate agendas that are not of God, and now we're confusing people, and we're confusing ourselves. Why you take the quiz?
That ad I have seen. Are you gay? Are you bi? Are you lesbian? Are you asexual?
Wow.
And it gets on my nerves.
Bruh.
I was just like, look.
Like, why you keep popping up on my screen?
Why do you keep coming my way? And 90% of the videos I watch on YouTube are Christian. I'm like, nah, you coming up in my good Christian YouTube.
My good Christian
YouTube. You gonna sit there
YouTube.
and post that. And so it's like, it's funny that you say like people will hear it from someone else. They'll see it on a quiz. I'm like, oh, it must be true. I know someone. I did camp with him last year. He was one of the counselors. Last year, he was professing to be straight. This year, he's like, I'm bi, I'm this, I'm that, like rainbow everything. And I said, oh, well, what happened with old girl?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, oh, yeah, that didn't work out because I actually like men. And I was just like, so is this something that you always knew? And you were,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm not gonna lie, when I met him last year, I thought he was.
Okay.
But I'm like, okay, but you're not. I'm gonna take you at your word.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna press you and question you.
Right.
And he was just like, it wasn't until I was in a therapy session and
Mm.
the therapist said, I think you're gay,
Mm.
that I started to think about it. And I'm like, you never thought about that for yourself? I feel like that's something you think about. Like, I don't know. I don't deal with that.
Right.
I don't have that. I don't have same sex attraction. So I don't know how that works. But like the people that I have talked to, they've always said it's something that they've always known.
Mm.
And so now, like, if you can take a quiz,
Right.
if your orientation and how you present yourself,
Mm-hmm.
your identity is literally just a quiz
Mm-hmm.
or one conversation away from changing.
Mm-hmm.
Like social media has like made us think that things that are common are natural.
Mm-hmm.
So we think it's natural
Mm.
for all these things to be. We think it's natural to not be able to focus.
Right.
We think it's natural to be attracted to everything under the sun.
Yes. Okay.
Like we think it's natural to not know who you are.
Yeah.
We think it's natural to do all these things. Like, and it's not. It's really
Yeah.
not. And like
Yeah.
that's part of the inability to focus. Like you can't even focus on who you are as a person.
Come on.
It's not just tasks. Like you don't know who you are because you're so focused on who everybody else is,
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing, what's the trendy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wear this outfit because it's not trendy, but you like it, so wear it.
Right. Right. Right.
I don't want to do this, or I don't. You even like filter yourself in person because you don't want to say things that are going against the norm. So like it's not even just like the cognitive transformation that we're seeing, but it's also social, emotional,
Very.
and physical. Like social media is
Very.
changing everything.
It's changing everything. Girl. Where's my let me turn. Oh, it's already over. But no. That I like that because it reminds me of even like what do you call it? The horoscopes. Man,
Man.
it's along the same lines of that. And when I was younger, I hopped onto the trend. Oh, my Pisces. Da, 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 da. But I'm like, yo, this fortune cookie thing is not real because it says Pisces are nice, we're mellow, we're this. And I'm like, yeah, I am. But so are you, and you're born in December. And so I feel like it's a very cookie cutter. Well, I don't know if I'm using the word cookie cutter well. I feel like it's just a very fortune cookie thing that like it could apply to anybody and it's very general. But like we have this thing of like, I keep seeing like Libras or Virgos, Geminis.
Aries.
Is somebody knocking on the door?
I don't know.
Okay. But okay, Aries, like Capricorn, Sagittarius's. And I'm like, I do see the commonalities within these personalities, but I'm just like, I feel like we capitalize too much on that.
Yes.
Now I'm like, God, okay, is there something with the way you align them? Because you know, God could do something with that. But I'm just like, I feel like when you can take a quiz and you can go on a website and it will tell you about your personality and who you are as a person, that's not life. And so when we, and I feel like the main difference between the word and that is that these things are man-made versus God is telling us that you are this, you are that. And the thing is, it's general too. God is telling us general things, but he personalizes it within our hearts. But now we got like these things telling you like you're a Pisces, so you can't date a Virgo. And I'm like, now when you make these conditional rules, it just sounds like nonsense to me.
And like even with like the horoscope thing, growing up, like I used to be mad. I'm like, so I'm supposed to go to a stranger who ain't never met me. They just know my birthday. And like they used to have like the horoscope newspapers and stuff.
Yeah, I used to
they
read
would
them.
be like sent to your email. You get a text message, or they might actually be in the newspaper. If you are a Virgo, you should not go outside today.
Wow.
You will be depressed today. You will be expecting a sad phone call. People live by that kind. I'm like, what
I used to too, because they have websites and they would literally tell you like, you know, today this and I'm like, okay. And I subscribed to it until I didn't anymore.
And then like the thing with it is like we're much more similar than we like to believe.
Yeah.
Like we have much more in common than we have different. And so like horoscopes, they play on the commonalities between different people. Like there are personality types. There are things like that. but like no one fits that one thing to a key. And like
Yeah.
maybe you do, but the other person who's in that same personality type might not.
Mm-hmm.
You might be very type A and want to be in control of everything and da
Mm-hmm.
da da da, and somebody else might want to be in control,
Right.
but the way they choose to go about control is different. The way
Mm-hmm.
they choose to do anything else is different. So like we want to be so similar. We want to have,
Right.
like I said before, we want to have so much community. We
Right.
want to find our tribe, as they say
Yeah.
now. Like we want to find our tribe, and we're not finding it in physical people. We're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yes, lollipop 3724 underscore hashtag likes the same thing as me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like it's just crazy because we're looking for all the things that God told us that we needed,
Ooh.
and we're not looking to him for those things, and we wonder why it's not working.
Wow. Real quick, can you explain like the difference between like horoscopes and like type A and stuff personality, or like even like the Enneagram? Because I mean, Jackie Perry said the Enneagram is evil, and I did some research that talked about how it went back to the occult. So like where you
Mm-hmm.
say like where, okay, so we personally, do you ascribe to like horoscopes?
No.
Okay, so where we don't ascribe to horoscopes, but we could be like, oh, I'm a type A personality. What's the difference between those two?
I feel like you have to use those things very loosely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so my first year of college, like, we took a bunch of different tests and things like that just so we can have an understanding
Mm-hmm.
of how psychologists do personality tests. Personality tests can be very beneficial in a diagnosis process.
Right.
It can be so helpful. Like, everybody wants to say somebody's a narcissist. Everybody's not a narcissist, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Narcissistic tendencies,
Right.
but not a narcissist. And
Mm-hmm.
so like it is one, I me personally, I think that horoscopes are a pseudoscience. They present themselves as something that is empirical and can be backed up. But like you're really just playing on the commonalities. Like you have red hair,
Right.
and somebody else has. I had red hair before too. We're not the same person because we had red hair.
Right.
Like they look for the smallest little thing, but you can't really prove. Like if you boil it down, you don't know how they're getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Like stars align how they align because that's how God chose them to
Mm-hmm.
align. If you believe in the Big Bang Theory, that's how they fail.
Mm-hmm.
Like what does it have to do with like your rising and your setting?
Ooh, don't
and,
talk about the
like
grand rising.
I don't even know enough about that to talk about it, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. But like the moon does not determine your personality.
Come on.
Like how?
Mm-hmm.
If everybody wants to be science based, let's talk about like how the moon affects your personality.
Come on.
How does it really?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a spiritual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like all spiritual things cannot be backed up empirically. That doesn't
Mhm.
mean they're false,
Right.
because science can't back it up. But also like everybody subscribing to this thing and you really don't even know where it comes from.
Yeah.
So like yeah, I don't agree with the Enneagram either.
Deep.
I think it's helpful to a degree, but I also
Mhm.
think it's like
Yeah, I totally understand because I have also done a lot of personality tests. I feel like it's just exciting, or it's interesting to see what don't I know about myself.
mm-hmm.
But kind of like what you said, that's what God is there for. Like he's the one that designed you. He knows what exactly he created you for. So
Mhm.
everything that you want to know about yourself in a quiz, he will tell you if you ask him.
Yeah.
And so I realized that we're searching for dynamics and characteristics of myself. What do I say in my sleep? Let me take this quiz so we can tell.
let me put this sleep app on.
Sleep and it's like go to the God who never sleeps in their slumbers. He will literally tell you
Come on.
what you, he will even tell you the dream and remind you when you forget when you wake up. And so the God that we serve is very dynamic, and I think we do this thing, and it's idolization when we look for something else
Ooh.
that is like God provides it, but we look somewhere else.
It
And
is.
so we're idolizing ourselves, we're glorifying our personalities, but not going to God who's the one that made it.
And then we put ourselves in a box. Like I personally, if you like, we thank the Lord for deliverance and growth in church.
Amen.
But like as a child, if you told me I couldn't do something, I was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was that kid 'cause I don't like being put in a box.
Right.
And like saying I'm a Pisces and saying I'm this and I'm that and da 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 da, that's putting me in a box.
Mm-hmm.
And like God will give you the tools to help you discover yourself. But we spend so much time looking at everybody else that we don't have time to
Yeah.
get to know ourselves.
Yeah.
Like you can really get to know yourself
Mm-hmm.
if you just pay attention to what you do.
Yeah.
You journal.
Mm-hmm.
You take some time to just sit in silence. You ask yourself questions and you think about those things, but you want to be on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
You want to be on YouTube all the time. Da, da, da. Like, you're taking away that time from yourself. Like, you need to date yourself. You need to
Mm-hmm.
know yourself. And that's like part, like, ADHD affects relationships. ADHD like tendencies affect relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know yourself. So how
Wow.
can you know anybody else?
Wow.
How can you know what you're looking for? Which is why we ask other people to tell me who I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
Tell me what I like.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not asking yourself those questions
Yeah.
because you're hyper fixated on somebody else's life
Very much so.
and trying to be just like them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody, you can't be an individual anymore. It's like it's a societal sin to be an individual.
Yeah. No, that's facts. And shameless plug, episode 7. Go ahead and date yourself. That's actually what I talked about
Mhm.
dating yourself and how we don't know ourselves because we are always relying on other people to tell us who we are. And it's like it ties into the people pleasing and being on social
Mhm.
media. We want Instagram to tell us what's cool. We want Facebook to tell us what's popping. And it's like when we rely on social platforms to give us our identity. I
Mhm.
mean, this is mind control. Oh my gosh, this is what I wanted to get into.
I'm
Girl, Beyonce had a concert where and she be having some demonic stuff on that.
Yes, she does.
She be having some real demonic things on there. And so in one of the transitions she has like this like swirl, black and white swirl,
Mhm.
and then it says something about like whoever controls the media controls the mind.
Mhm.
When I saw that, I was like, there is no lie in that. But what they're doing is blatant mind control. It used to be very subtle. It used to be very hidden, but it's in your face now.
Mhm.
The way that we soak in social media, we spend hours, we lose sleep, we lose food over social media. It's controlling our minds. And so now you scrolling your timeline, you see 10 people wearing cargo pants. You're sleeping, you wake up, I want to buy some cargo pants. And you're wondering, like, when you walk outside, you're wondering why everybody's wearing the same clothes, because we're all controlled by the same media, wearing the same hair. Look at me and you, we got the same braids and the
Right.
curls. And so we are being so heavily influenced by media, and I don't think we even realize how deep it is.
I feel like when you constantly feed yourself with something, you become unaware of how influential it really is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's crazy. Everybody really is just like them ugly red shoes. Everybody
Them
was,
blocks.
Yes, everybody was getting those shoes because it was viral. How you walk in those things? How do you put them on?
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy. Like, social media will have you doing stupid things.
Real stupid
It will have
stuff.
you doing stupid stuff. It will have you thinking differently. It will change your behavior. It will change your child's behavior.
Come on.
Like, my god brother.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be obsessed with Caillou.
Oh.
Obsessed. For those of you who ain't never seen Caillou, he is disrespectful.
Oh.
His parents will tell him to do something, and he will say, "No, mommy,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do this," and throw a tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
He calls his sister all kinds of names. He started to act like Caillou.
Wow.
His parents would be like, "Hey, come on, let's come eat dinner. It's dinner time." "I don't want dinner." "Oh, I don't want what you made for dinner." Have a tantrum.
Wow.
It wasn't until they removed Caillou from his
Wow.
life that his behavior, he started to act like himself.
Wow.
And like, we are going around acting like the person that we see trending.
Mm-hmm.
We're going like, now everybody's algorithm is different. It's
Right.
tailored to them. So like, you may see certain things that I don't see. You probably see way more hair videos than I
Mhm.
see. Somebody else might see more political videos than the
Mhm.
next person. So it's like, it's tailored to you. It's tailored to keep you in this like single frame of mind.
Right.
And like, Twitter is the prime example of people who don't know how to talk to each other.
Yep.
You say
Twitter
I like
fingers.
red, somebody on Twitter say it's not red, it's burgundy. It's a whole fight
Mm-hmm.
over semantics.
Oh.
Like, we don't know how to communicate anymore.
Yeah.
And so like, to kind of keep on topic a little bit, because we kind of
No, we going everywhere. Hey.
we're on topic, but we're off topic. Like, social media, in my opinion, does not cause ADHD.
Mm.
It does not, but it does influence your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It does influence your mindset.
Right.
It influences everything about your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have tendencies that you never had before because of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are these girls trying to be rappers
Ooh.
now? I'm sorry. As a true Atlantean, okay?
Atlantean.
Born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is not going to be the next Migos.
Hold up, because
Everybody-
did you watch my last episode?
I haven't, not yet, because I've been out of town. So
Girl.
I haven't been doing nothing on my phone.
What?
But like, everybody's not gonna be the next Migos. Everybody's not gonna be the next Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Coco Jones, all that stuff. Tyler Perry don't know your name. Like, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But because that's what's trending, like, as a teacher, I have heard kids say, like, I'm like, what do you want to be when you grow up? You used to hear doctor and engineer and all this stuff, or you used to hear, I want to be, some kids that used to say they want to be a zoologist.
Right.
You hear, I want to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I want to be a TikToker.
Mm-hmm.
If your Wi-Fi is down, you can't do anything.
Yes.
If you do one thing that displeases the masses, you are canceled.
Yeah.
Your entire career down the drain.
Yeah.
All the brand deals, everything
Yeah.
that you were doing, like all streams of income are shut down because you said one thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Everybody doesn't need to go to college.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't need a super crazy career.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to do something other than try to please people for the rest of your life.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad you're saying that, because I said it 2 episodes ago. Everybody's not meant to be a rapper.
For
if
real.
you want to do music, it's okay to be in the music industry. You could be a producer. You could be a sound engineer. You could be the janitor that's listening to them while they rapping. But not everybody's meant to be on the mic. And so I don't want this to sound like we're knocking you as you're pushing for your passion. That's not even the case. It's more
But
so,
is it your passion?
right? Like, there's purpose and then there's passion. And so many of us and many of the people who are like out there have been blessed to mix their purpose with their passion and start to make money from it and start to get payment. But for a lot of people, we all can be influencers. Well, we can be influencers in our own way, but we're not all going viral on TikTok. We're not all meant to be on YouTube. And I don't think we understand the lifestyle it comes with. But many people want to do these things because that's what we see. We're seeing people make it. Like, you could have had $0 yesterday, but because you're now a famous Instagram braider, you're making $100,000 a year. It's amazing and it's aspirational, but it's not everybody's life.
Right.
It's not real life, at least.
Right. And like, I, for one, don't care to have people all up in my business. But I feel like people have lost, like, they've lost a sense of themselves so much that they don't even care to keep things to themselves anymore. And they wonder why stuff doesn't work out. Everybody not your friend.
Yeah.
Just because they follow you does not mean they're following you because they want to see you be successful.
Yeah.
And that's like another thing. I think I said it earlier, like, it has created a false sense of friendship, like social media. Everybody doesn't follow you because they want you to be successful. People are still out to get you. We still have enemies.
Come on.
We still have people who are fake and who are phony. Like, that's never going to change about humanity. There's always going to be somebody who don't like you because you just you.
Right.
But like, social media makes it seem like, oh, they liked my post. Maybe that thing that we never fixed is fixed now.
Right.
Maybe this is not. I'm like, it's not the case. It's not life. Social media has really, like, social media has made it seem like Sims in real life. Like, everybody's just like, and I love Sims. I do. I play that. That's the only game I play.
Yeah.
But it's just like, life can't be like that. Life can't be a simulation. And like, people are starting to think that it is one now.
Yeah.
Like, that's how engrossed we are. Like, we are engulfed in technology and we don't even know what's real anymore.
Yeah.
Like, people are 25. Your brain's supposed to be fully developed. Supposed to be. Like, studies are saying other things now. But like, you are grown. You have a job. You pay rent. You pay this. But you think that somebody over there is a lizard person and that we are in the middle of a matrix and this is not like,
you have a lizard person.
no, people think that stuff for real. Like, it's crazy because social media will have you thinking that this is not a real conversation.
Yeah.
That this is a fake thing.
Yeah.
And like, it's just crazy how we have really allowed something that can malfunction, like literally break.
Ooh.
It can die. Like, your phone dies every day. And we allow that one thing to control ourselves, to give us life. Like, that's so crazy to me. People can't, like, the camp that I just did, this one camper, the first thing that she said when we greeted her was, "I want my phone."
Oh, wow.
She complained that entire week about not having her phone.
Wow.
She couldn't do anything.
Wow.
She said that was an experience for her to learn that she can actually live without her phone, because up until that point she thought she couldn't.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And I'm pretty sure she's a child that always had her phone.
Yeah, like she was like a 2010 baby.
Oh,
so it's like she's always had a phone.
Of course.
Always
And I think it's interesting because we've come from a place where we got phones. They were born with the era of phones around them. So for a lot of them, they have such an emotional connection to these things, and it's just like I feel like it replaces something mentally, because they've probably had a phone or an Instagram account longer than they've had friends, and so Instagram is their real friend. Like the stimulation that they get is more gravitating to them than talking to somebody and having a fruitful conversation.
Yeah.
But this is what's needed. It's what's built within us. I need hugs every day. 4 to 8.
Yep. That's what puppy cuddles come in handy too.
Okay, get you a dog.
Like, we are built for human connection.
Yeah.
Even people who don't like physical touch isn't their love language. If you put them in a room by themselves, you put them in solitary confinement, they are going to go crazy.
Yeah.
They don't have contact with people.
Yeah.
Introverts, they still need contact with people. And like one of the things that I was looking up too, or it was in the article that I was reading, was talking about how social media creates anxiety. You are always looking for a notification. And so like in real life, you're always waiting to be notified about something. And if you are a naturally anxious person and you always get those notifications, you're thinking in real life something's about to come up. I'm about to find out something. Somebody's about to tell me this and that. Like it creates a sense of anxiety. Like you don't know how to sit still because you're always scrolling. You're all like, there's a thing. Why is text thumb a thing?
Oof.
Why are people getting carpal tunnel from texting? Why is your neck and your spine being destroyed because you spend so much time looking down?
Yeah.
Like that's a problem. It's affecting our health.
Yeah.
In every way.
Come on.
And then I feel like part of the reason we see depression increasing is because we are in everybody's business.
Ooh.
Like 20 years ago, we didn't have this many people that were depressed. But 20 years ago, we also weren't in everybody's business.
Wow.
And this is something that's probably not a hot take, or it's a hot take. It's like everybody's not really depressed. We just want connection. And when you don't get what you need, you start to malfunction. Like if you don't get vitamin D, your bones get brittle, your hair gets weak,
right?
Your teeth fall out. If you don't eat food, you become malnourished.
Right.
When you don't get human connection, when you don't get conversation and touch and things like that, your body starts to react. Your emotions start to react like, okay, I need this. And then like we're being traumatized on social media.
Oh boy.
Like trauma. There is no reason I should have been able to see George Floyd. I should not have seen it as much as I did. Like I had to pull away. Like we're seeing everything. There is nothing is off limits anymore. And even like for kids, the stuff they're showing kids on YouTube, kids, they were doing demonic rituals.
Wow.
Yes. Like all this stuff. Like we shouldn't be able to see that kind of stuff
at all.
And that's like just traumatizing people, which is perpetuating like whatever they already had.
Right.
Like if they were already depressed and they see their trigger, they're getting triggered all the time, which is also increasing the anxiety levels. And then they are watching TikToks and Reels and YouTube Shorts, which are anywhere from 6 seconds to 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Of course you can't focus in class. Everything that you consume is within a 60-second time frame.
Yeah.
If your professor doesn't put the notes in a TikTok, you're not gonna get it.
Not gonna get it.
You're not gonna get it.
Wow.
And so like it's just crazy because it's changing our communication. It's changing our mindset. It's changing our relationship with God, and all things like spiritual is being transformed. Yeah. It's changing how you treat yourself. And so I feel like that's part of the reason we think everybody has ADHD, because social media, because we're seeing the changes, but we don't know what the changes are.
Right.
So we just put it on this one thing. Like we have these tendencies now.
Right.
I didn't have them before as a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, I got it.
Facts. Facts.
But like social media is really doing that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
I have what you said was really, really good. I have two things to add to that. It's one of them, I feel like what you kind of said, that we're in everybody's business now. I feel like sometimes we feel like we have a right to talk about somebody
Mm-hmm.
because we have the right on Instagram with a comment button. You can naturally say something about what somebody posts. So in real life, you feel like you have a right to say something about what I'm wearing, about how I look. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like trolls. We have trolls. We have people who are hyping you up, even probably when you're doing a bad thing. Like, we feel like we have the right to comment when naturally, sometimes we actually don't. If you don't know me
Mm-hmm.
and you say something, I feel like, what is it? Rebuke without relationship is very irrelevant.
Yes.
You don't know me, but you're coming from me. I'm not gonna receive that very well.
Mm-hmm.
But if I trust you and I trust your judgment and I know that you care about me and you say something, I'm gonna actually take that and marinate with that.
Mm-hmm.
But because of this, I feel like, I'm not saying Instagram take away the comment section, but I feel like the mentality behind that promotes that I can talk about anything I want, especially on Twitter. I mean, that's the nature of Twitter. And you can often find people who are on Twitter when they're very argumentative. I'm like, I could tell you've been on Twitter. Like, you just go looking for fights.
A Twitter spirit.
A very Twitter spirit, and they got Twitter fingers, and they're bold, and they might even be a little shy in person, but on Twitter they reposting everybody, they talking out of their neck, and it's just like
their inner keyboard warrior comes out.
Okay. Seriously. So that was one thing I wanted to add. And then the second thing I wanted to add was about the physical effects of like social media. And I realized, and this is just for me speaking of personal experience, I always get so many headaches. Like, it's actually very abnormal. It's very abnormal how many headaches I get. And it's either multiple times a day, or it just travels throughout the night into the entire week. It's from a lack of sleep, but then it's also from staring at my screen.
Oh, that blue light.
That blue light. And so for like almost all of my devices, I have like a blue light was it screen blocker, anti-blue light blocker, and then also I have blue light glasses. And I think the thing that sucks is that in college you're on your laptop like 24/7, and so
work too.
Exactly. So I can't even take a break from that unless I print out everything that I need. And things are not as printed as they were. Everything is digital. And so I'm here reading a textbook for 7 hours, taking an exam for 3 hours, and it's all on the screen. And so we have all of these EMF waves, which are electromagnetic field waves. I want to say field. Electromagnetic field waves, and we're absorbing all of this radiation. And I don't think we actually even understand the damages that Wi-Fi brings to us. The fact that Bluetooth, like my phone is here, my AirPod is here, but it connects. There's something in the air that it's gonna reach my AirPod, but it's also gonna reach my body. And so naturally, our brains are picking up these signals, our bodies are picking up these signals, and we're deteriorating at like very low rates, but we're still deteriorating. And I don't think we realize that. So I don't know. I always encourage young people to look at their screen time, because if your screen time is higher than the amount of hours you get for sleep, there is a problem.
For real.
If you're staring at a screen, at a TV, at a tablet for that long, there's something going on that we need to evaluate.
Yeah, and like it affects everything. Like with the radiation, like putting your phone in your back pocket or in your pocket in general is so dangerous. It is so dangerous. Like when I was in high school, my chemistry teacher used to tell us, like, do not sleep with your phone near your head.
Wow.
Like, put it on the other side of the room. You don't need that radiation coming towards you. And at first, like, I didn't really care for her. She was a little something. But like I started looking into it, and I'm like, it is so dangerous. Like, it can, like, high levels of radiation, they use it for cancer treatment, and that wipes everything out of your system.
Wow.
So like if we're constantly surrounded by it, like right now we have so much around us. Like it's crazy. But like this is one of the benefits, but it's also a downside. Like it's a double-edged sword no matter how you look at it. And it's just like it's crazy because it does affect you. And then like blue light affects your circadian rhythm, which is like your sleep and like heart fun. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff wrapped up in that. And we can't sleep.
Wow.
And so what do we do when we cannot sleep?
Go on TikTok.
We pull out our phone, we pull out our iPad, we turn on the TV, and then that blue light is actively fighting your body's producing that melatonin.
Wow.
It's like you want to sleep, but you don't want to sleep. And so it's like it's a fight, and you can't. And then when you cannot sleep, you cannot function.
Yeah.
cognitively or physically.
Wow.
You have trouble communicating. Like, you
Wow.
have trouble in every aspect of your life because
Mm-hmm.
you can't sleep. But you can't sleep, so you pull out your phone. You're really supposed to get out your bed.
Really?
Yeah, you're supposed to get out of your bed. If you can't sleep within 20 minutes, you're supposed to get out your bed, walk around, do something non-stimulating, and then get back in your bed
Mm.
and see if that helps.
But
But
we've
we,
turned to stimulation, which is obviously is gonna keep you up.
right,
Wow.
Coco Melon.
Co- Cocoa melon at 3 a.m. in the morning. Wow. That's deep.
Yeah.
You putting me on the game, Krista. Seriously, because I've heard the like don't let like device. I mean, I'm sitting here with my iPad on me. I realized that for me, I don't like to touch. I used to be on my phone when it was charging, like I'd plug it in and
Mm.
still use it, but then I would actually feel the radiation. For me, I can't, like, if I'm having a laptop, I try to put like a pillow in between, or I try
Yeah,
to
you
put
feel
it
the
on the
heat
desk,
from it too.
because the heat like it actually got to a point where it was more than just heat, but it's like I'm feeling like a radiation in my legs.
Mm.
And that's when I knew, like, okay, I gotta stop doing this, because I'm actually feeling some type of movement, and I didn't like that, and it would make
Mm-hmm.
my legs feel weak. And so now I've tried to like find different ways to maneuver so that like my hand is here and my iPad is here, so it's not directly touching my body. But it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
because it's there. The radiation is there. We can't
Mm-hmm.
escape it. Hey Siri, Siri probably radiated to me too.
So, like, I'll have my phone in my car, and like it's connected via Bluetooth, and I'll be like, hey, I'm not trying to activate it, but
Right,
I'll be
right,
like,
right.
hey,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll be like, "Do-do-do-do." I'm like,
Mm-hmm. So
what
you were
in
listening to me, Siri?
the right,
Let's not even get to that, because
right,
I would talk about how they are always listening, always watching. My thing
always.
is, if it has a camera, just because you don't pull up the camera app doesn't mean it's not watching you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if she or he or whatever your Siri is waiting to hear its voice,
Right, the
it's
microphone's
always
always on.
listening. And so my thing is, like, you be thinking like you slick. Like, no.
That's why you get them advertisements.
Exact. You're like, I was talking about Fashion Nova yesterday. Why is it on my screen? Because they know, and the cookies
Yep.
are there. Bruh. And I was even thinking about this yesterday, because we have a remote where you can like speak into it. You have to press the button, and then it will show on the
Mhm.
TV. But I was low key like, just because I'm not pressing the button doesn't mean you can't hear me. So I'm wondering, are there like more like monitoring devices than we actually think?
I feel like every smart device, for the most part,
Mm.
is. I feel like with the remote, like, it's different technology. Like, you
Mm.
have to physically engage.
Mm-hmm.
But like your phone, your iPad, your laptop,
Hmm.
your camera. Like, my dad worked in tech all my life.
Wow.
All my life. He made us cover up our laptops.
Mm.
And I used to think he was crazy. He was like, you don't understand, like, hackers, the government, like, and it sounds very conspiracy
Mhm.
theory, but like when you
This
talk
stuff
to
is
people
legit.
who are in it,
Yeah.
they tell you, like, yeah, there's a dude in Russia right now taking, like, I forgot what it's called, like, he's there for like a safe haven type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
because he used to work for the government, but he
Mhm.
exposed that they're always watching you.
Wow.
And they want him now.
Wow.
I'm like, it's not a lie. Like,
It's not.
if I'm over here minding my business, and like my friends came over yesterday, they brought their baby. I was talking about baby stuff. Today I see an ad about a crib,
Wow.
because we were talking to the baby and we kept saying baby, baby, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're always listening.
They're always listening.
You're always listening. So, like, I feel like you can't escape it. But sometimes I be, I know you listen. So
My
let me just
FBI
go ahead.
agent.
Let me go ahead and preach to you, FBI agent.
Jesus is Lord. No,
Right.
facts. No, that stuff. It's conspiracy to those who feel like it's unnecessary, but it's very real. It's very, very real. So I don't doubt that they're always listening, always watching. It's embedded at
It's
this
very
point.
creepy.
Very. Are we in an episode of Black Mirror right now? Like,
Right.
bruh,
God, I'm telling you.
bruh, Black Mirror is creepy. I used to like watch the episodes, and I'm like, this is low key reality, but we just don't know that side of things.
Like, in 2020, I used to love the show Black Lightning. In 2020, like, in the lockdown, I watched not the last season, I think like season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, okay, so like, production, it takes a while to film.
Mm-hmm.
It takes anywhere from a few months to a few years to film.
Mm.
Why, or film, produce, edit, all that stuff.
Right.
Why are we in the middle of lockdown and on the TV show, like on Black Lightning, there was a plague going around?
Wow.
They were in the quarantine. They were isolated. They were trying to come up
Jeez.
with a vaccine for it. I'm like, Jesus,
That's a little too real.
The Simpson writers, they did this. They
Come
did this.
on.
It's a little creepy.
It is very creepy. And so, like, it even reminds me, you know, that one Simpson episode where they were just like, what is going on? This person disappeared. He was like, it's the rapture. If you're not, if you don't take Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you're passively following the devil, and he's gonna. And I'm like, y'all are saying it like this is what it is.
Because of who it's coming from, and they always joke, and it's a comedy show.
Bruh.
People don't take it seriously.
But I'm like, yo, like, I guess from my Christian mind, I was like, yeah, like, y'all are putting it out there. And so it even reminds me of, what is it? 2 Timothy chapter 3. I won't read all of it, but like this to me pretty much describes in our generation. It says, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of good, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, and having a form of godliness but denying its power. And I mean, it says more. I even just kind of cut some down, but it's like, I'm like, yeah, like for me this is normal because this is every day, and the Bible mentions it. And so it's just like, if someone wrote this over 2,000 years ago and said that this is going to be people, and we're like, this is everyday life, like,
but we don't want to believe it because of how old it is.
The Bible is completely valid in its revelation and its prophecy. And I think people need to understand that God is not something to play with, especially eternity. Like, we're not living forever. Even right now in these days, we're living shorter and shorter lives. We just don't even know the impact of technology because we're at the beginning of it. But you never really know something until like years down the line, until studies are shown. So we don't even know what technology is doing now, but lifespans are decreasing. And so people need to take God more seriously now than ever, because I don't know, it's a very bold statement to say, but I believe there's an antichrist agenda behind technology and everything that we do. So
I feel like anything major, and if like it's like K-pop started trending for no reason on social media, and like people are obsessed. You don't know what they're saying. I don't speak Korean. I don't, and it's not like, no, like I'm not disrespecting them, but I don't know what you're saying.
Right.
I don't know what you're speaking over me. So like I tend to stay away from things where I cannot directly see a translation. Because I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. And then like going back to like the scripture and how like social media, just kind of tie it up and everything, because I know we're probably over time.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, but
it's our longest episode.
Like yesterday, a family friend came over. And we were like joking around and everything. And one day I was joking, like, exercise self-control. She said she was going to leave about 15 times. And you know, church people and black church people be like, all right, I'm going to go. 3 minutes later, they still talking. 45 minutes, time just goes by and they're still there. So it's like self-control. Like, you said you're going to go. And she was like, well, self-control is not who I am. I said, well, it's the fruit of the spirit. And she was like, well, that's not who I am. And I was just like, wow, that is crazy. And like, I see so many people saying that they can't be patient because of social media. Well, my brain has been conditioned for this, or I can't be patient because I want it now. I can't be kind because they make me unkind, and I can't do this. I'm like, but God didn't say have the fruit of the spirit if you don't have social media.
Right.
He didn't say love your neighbor if they don't try you.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything. Like, I said what I said, and I meant it. And then we see like all these principles fall away. And like, even we live in a culture where like everybody wants to be objectively correct. They are like, they're actively trying to change morals.
Right.
They're actively trying to change morals. And I'm like, you don't want to do it. You don't want the smoke that comes with that.
Yeah.
Because pretty much every moral that we have comes from scripture.
Yeah.
Murder is a crime because God said do not kill.
Right.
I don't know nobody else that said it before him.
Right.
Like, this text that y'all want to hate on,
right?
Because it's so old and it was written by man, but so was your newspaper, so was the horoscope, so was your textbook. So every article you read was written by a person,
right?
The comments you read written by people, but you don't discredit them,
right?
And so like, it's so crazy to me that we live in a world where everything is influential, and I feel like that's how God made it to be. but like we're perverting it.
Yeah.
We're perverting it.
Yeah.
Like, so I can't have self-control because of social media.
Mm.
That's not what God says.
Mm.
And we hold everything to what society says. So like if it's popular, that's our standard.
Yeah.
Not God's word anymore. God didn't say it was popular to be drinking and smoking and doing this and doing that and changing your physical body,
Yeah.
because you feel a certain way.
Wow.
He didn't say that that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're seeing the consequences that come with that.
Come on.
But we don't want to talk about the
Come
consequences
on.
because we don't want anybody to think that we were wrong.
Right.
We don't want anybody to think that that's not who we are anymore. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're so afraid of what other people are going to say that we lost the consideration. Like, what does God say? I'm more scared of him than I'm scared of anybody else.
Okay.
I have to answer to him. You're not going to meet me in eternity. I don't have to stand before you and answer for my life. And like, when you say it to people who are like grew up in a church or in a community that was hyper religious and had no relationship,
Right.
it sounds very scary and very intimidating and very manipulative.
Right.
But it's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
You have to, like, if you want to be an astronaut, you have to go to school.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it. Like, there are certain things you just cannot escape, no matter how hard you try. I'm not trying to answer to social media. Is not my God.
Come on.
They may influence a lot of things that I do, but I have to counteract that.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, okay, I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to set boundaries for myself.
Mm.
Nobody wants to do that anymore.
Nobody.
As for me and mine, my children shall be raised old
We
school.
shall serve
Okay.
the Lord.
Amen.
Girl, this was a good conversation.
This was.
This is my longest. I was like, dang, we should even do like a part 2 because this is really good.
Yeah.
I thank you for all your insight, all the research that you put in. Like when I tell you, like she's a psych student, her notes are in APA. They're in APA. Okay, mine are just bullet points. I'm telling you. So I'm really blessed to have you. Thank you so much for being on this podcast, girl. We're gonna have a part 2.
Yes,
we have to.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you were enlightened, elevated, educated, and that you have questions. And if you do have questions, that is okay. It's good to have conversation. And so pretty much we're done. This is Sab.
And Krista.
We're out. Peace.